B'shestra Shiva Rebbeim and Kol HaKadosh Hazeh. I live near here, so I feel safer that I see you. You protect the city that you're learning. I'm going to start with a question. We all know Ma'amad Har Sinai was choshech, darkness, ofel, oshan. If I would ask you, what would you like the background of Matan Torah to be? You would say, or there's a medrash in the beginning of Bereshis that if you look at the beginning of Bereshis, it says in the Bria of Ar 5 times. It represents the 5 Chumashim. Ar is light. Miyamino yesh das lamai. Bereshis is Isias bris eish, a covenant of fire. I would make a brilliant sun, malachim, shining malachim, strobes of light. No. Cheshach, Oshan, Afela, pitch black. It seems to be the wrong message. I looked for this question for many years. I finally found it. Maybe in Yeshiva you have the Shulzinger set of Chumashim. It has in the back the Pirush of the Taisus Harash on Chumash, or the red volume we have Taisus Harash on Chumash. Taisus Harash asks the question. The Taisus Harash says, you're right. It should have been that way. Except that we would sin shortly afterwards with the Egel Azov, and therefore we weren't Zeicha to the Or Torah. So right away, the Yeshiva Bachim, what's Rabbi Weiss talking about? The Rebbeinu Shalom only punishes Ba'asher Husham. You know, the reason why we lane on Rosh Hashanah, the story of Yishmael and Hagar, is because when the Rebbeinu Shalom saved Yishmael and sent the Malach and showed Hagar the Mayim, aber is doch a kasha, does the Tata from Arafat? Does the Tata from suicide bombers? Let him die. No, Ba'asher Husham. It's very important to lay that on Rosh Hashanah, even though the Katega says they're going to sin again. It's only now, a week after Yom Kippur, it's all going to be back to business as normal. No, Ba'asher Husham. So Ba'asher Husham, so why couldn't we get the Or Torah? The answer is, yeah, for punishment, it's only Ba'asher Husham. Oh, but to get the Or Shel Torah, the Mesikas HaTorah, the shine, the ziv of Torah, you can't have an egel afterwards. That's why it's so important. We're here in Yeshiva, and we want to be zeicha. Ta'amita shel Torah, to the geschmack from Torah. that can only come if we behave like Bnei Torah. Somebody goes home, chas v'shalom, and is an aziz ponim to a parent, it's not shaykh. It's not shaykh to get the Torah. In order for there to be the nishma, says Rabbeinu Yaina, there has to be the nasa first. Rabbeinu Yaina says that's the ikar for nasa v'nishma. In order for the nishma is to learn, that's when we hear the words of the Rabbeinu Shalom. There has to be the nasa before. Otherwise, it's not a keli that can be mekabel the Torah. Let me tell you something that I heard from Ramosha Zechtzad V'Kodesh Bracha. I realized that in the last 25 years, I have to preface, I spoke somewhere, and I said Ramosha, and somebody asked me, did I mean Ramosha Sternbach or Ramosha Wolfson? Maybe your Rosh Yeshivas, Zacha Talmud, so Mistama, you're zugeweint, that Ramosha is Ramosha Feinstein. Not to make little of the other two names that are very lofty. But when I'm saying Ramosha, I mean our Rebbe, Ramosha Feinstein, Zechtzad V'Kodesh Bracha, Schussi Yagan Aleinu. So Ramosha, not so long ago, we had Lag Baimer. So we know that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his son were in the cave. And after all those years, they came out, and whatever they saw was burnt. So Rabbi Shalom said, I didn't take you out to make my world charav. Go back into the cave. So, Frekter Moshe, what's it going to help to go back in the cave? They were that way because they were so mufresh from the Gashmias. So to send them back in the cave, it's going to make them worse. What's going to help to go back in the cave? So Moshe said, they were told, you learn Torah, but the Torah is a Torah of Shalom. Torah is a Torah of Shalom. Go back in the cave and go through the entire Torah and see how it's a Torah shel Shalom. It's a Rambam in Hilchos Chanukah. Rambam says in Hilchos Chanukah, Shekol HaTorah kula nitna l'asei shalom ba'olam. The whole Torah was given to make peace in the world. Now this is the Rambam, the Mechaber of the Yad HaChazaka, who wrote on everything, on Eglah Rufa, on Paraduma, on Ben Tzaramayra. He wrote on everything, and he's saying, the Gans Torah is nitna l'asei shalom ba'olam. Shenema drocha darchei noyam b'chol nesiba yisrael shalom. A Ben Torah has to ooze shalom, has to ooze peace. Could you imagine that they were in the Beis Medrash and the Rebbeim said, don't stand up for Geniva. Geniva was a big Talmid Chacham. Ayim v'naira. Don't stand up for Geniva ish merivahu. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine Rebbe saying not to stand? To be a Ben Torah and to be a Bar Machlokes is not shaykh. It's not shaykh. It's like saying he's a Ben Torah, but he doesn't spend time learning. Sorry. A mensch that's not an Ish Shalom, he's not a Me'urev and a Mabrias, not a Ben Torah. Can't be. The Torah is, the ganze Torah is Yochel Darchei Noyam. Its ways are ways of pleasantness. V'chol Nesiv V'Ser Shalom. It's not shaykh for a person to absorb the Torah and not be an Ish Shalom. Yeah, you could be a Chamor Noisei Svarim. You could be a donkey carrying Svarim. You could be a Sheinish Svarim Shank. But if you want to absorb the Torah, you have to be an Ish Shalom. That's why it says that you want to know what the barometer, what the yardstick is, that the Rabbeinu Shalom is having nachas from you. Kol sheruach habriyas neicha imenu, ruach hamakam neicha imenu. If people are at ease with you, that's a sign the Rabbeinu Shalom is at ease with you. If not, there's something wrong with the absorption of the Torah. We put on the tefillin keneged hayad, keneged halev, keneged harosh, the Shabbat bezeh. The Ger Rebbe said a wonderful thing. He says, you have tzitzis, they're only tashmishay mitzvah. When they get used up, okay, Kitzur Shulchan Aruch says use it to keep your place in the sefer. Abel Mais is you can put it in a bag, a separate bag, and throw it away. But the bag that you keep your tefillin on, that's tashmishay kedusha. Says the Chidush Rim, if we take the tefillin and we put its message in our heart, in our head, then our head becomes tashmishay kedusha. If you put the tefillin in a bag, it becomes tashmishay kedusha. So you put the tefillin in your head, in your heart, so you have in your head, you have in your heart, I make an announcement in shul. Yizkar. So first I say a bracha. Everybody that goes out should go out for many years. And then I said, Yizkar, this is good to remember. The other stuff is not good to remember. What Yenim did to me, what Yenim said about me, that's not good to remember. So when I put the tefillin in my head, I remember what it means to be a Yid. I want to be zeicher to the Or Torah. The Or Torah, the light of Torah, the geschmack, the mesikis HaTorah. I want to tell you a Kibbud Av V'Aim story. Tell you a story. There's a family in Staten Island. Your Yeshiva knows the family well, the Edelman family. When their mother passed away, she was 98 years old. The year before an aunt passed away, she was 98 years old. There was still a sister living that was going to be 98 years old. So what do you, if you're a Ben Torah, you learned Megillah, Tanis, what do you say? B'me'arach Yomim, yeah? So I asked the family, did you say B'me'arach Yomim? They said, yes, we asked, and they all said the same thing. When they were growing up, their father was a grocer during the Great Depression. They used to deliver the crates of milk in wooden crates in glass bottles. He had a bad back. And 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, he had to schlep those crates. And he would be krechsing the whole day. So the 3 girls, teenagers, made a solemn pact amongst themselves that every day 2 of them would get up at 3:30 in the morning and schlep in the crates. They did that in all of their adolescent years, their teenage years, your age. All their years, they didn't go to camp in the summer so that they should be able to do it. They did it in the snow. And they said they're sure that's why they lived into their deep 90s. This is your time for kibbut avayim. You get married, your responsibilities shift, you have a wife, you have children. This is the age. You're smart enough to know it. This is just one example of how to be zeichet to the Yard Torah. It's not a small thing. You know why? We're going to read the Aseret Sedibris. You know why kibbut avayim is on the left side? Well, it's not a side, it's actually two luchas, but you know, in the pictures. But why is it on the luchas of Bein Adam Lamakam? It's Bein Adam L'Chaveira. Baruch Shalom says, Shloisha Shutfin Ba'adam. I'm the silent partner, Hashem says. The way you treat your parents, that's the way I know how you would treat me. Kibbut avayim is a test how we would treat the Rebbeinu Shalom. Rameir Aimer Kol Aloymei Torah Lishma Zeicha L'Dvar Ma'abeh. The Heilige Rameir. Where would Torah be without Rameir? Rabbi Kiva, after 24,000 Talmidim died, went to the Durham and taught to 5 or 7 Talmidim. One of them was Rameir. Stam Mishnah Rameir. Rameir says, Kol Aloymei Torah Lishma Zeicha L'Dvar Ma'abeh. Now we know what the Dvar Ma'abeh. He doesn't tell us. We know the Dvar Ma'abeh. Oirech Yamim B'Yamina B'Smei Loisha V'Chavayit. I'm not telling you, says Rameh. You know how much ink has been spilled on what it means to learn Torah Lishma? So many say, the Kotzke, many say Torah Lishma means Kipshutai, Torah Lishma, the Hatorah. You should be able to know ein bur yirechet v'loyamoretz chassid. You have to know what to do. The Mishnah says you don't learn chelik shlishi, you can't be a Shemesh Shabbos. Torah lishma, Torah means instruction, to know what to do. I remember giving my daf yomi in Borough Park 5 cycles ago. And we were learning Daf Tesim Psochim B'Dikanite. We had a smorgasbord of cookies and everything. There were over 200 people by the shir. And even the night of B'Dikanite, we still had the cookies and everything. It was against a smorgasbord, every cookie you could imagine. And we were learning the Gemara, if you put out 10 pieces and you find 9 pieces. Any people are eating the chometz sticker cookies over their Gemara. I said, Rabbi Isai, is this Torah Lishma? Matzi Yom Tov, we're going to use these Gemaras on Pesach. How can you learn about a crumb? But L'maisa is, people forget. It's Torah, it's theoretical. I got to finish the Gemara. I got to figure out the Taisis. Aber Daf Zayin Torah Lishma. Adam la'amal, la'amal is lumad amanas la'asais. I don't know, we started late. When do you want me to finish? I'm a guest. Want me to go 10 extra minutes? Want to make a meeting? Okay, I'll speak until the meeting is over. Till the Hanola meeting is over, I'll speak. You know, it's in them tight. You know, I'll tell you another ma'aser from Moshe. This is a ma'aser that you only hear from me because it happened to me. Ramosha had phlebitis, which today they call cellulitis. In the olden days, they called it in Yiddish roiza. And I brought him food to bed. I brought him lunch in bed. And he was learning Tanakh in bed. He had a little Tanakh that he had from Rav Shishka with no Rashi, a Koran Tanakh. And he was learning Tanakh straight. And he said to me that he's mesupik if he's having Yisurin Shalava. So what do you think I did? I kept quiet. Right? What would you do? Right? So he explained to me that the Gemara says it could only be Yisurin Shalava if there's no Bittul Torah. So he said, he's learning Tanakh, it's not Bittul Torah. But he said, it's not the Ika learning, Lasuke Shmaitz Ali B'Ilchasa, you can't sit down and write the Tshuvas. So maybe it is Bittul Torah. Now of course the Chiddush, the big Chiddush of this story is that the Gemara says over there, Yefashveish B'Masav. Pishpeish v'loy matzah yidla b'bittul Torah. That means he was already pishpeish v'loy matzah. He didn't find anything that it could be, anything wrong that it could be. Another time, he was washing his hand. I brought him water. If you remember in Rav Gershon's office, he would learn there, and there was a bathroom in there, but there was no sink. So I brought him water for after he came out of the bathroom, and he made an asher yotzer. And he said, and he said, afilu sho'echas. Even one moment. So I took the opportunity to ask him, Rosh Yeshiva, is that true? I mean, the pashtus of im yisosei mehem is as if somebody would be constipated. So if he's constipated, he can't exist, afilu sho'echas? That's why some people have in parentheses. It's a kasha. You know what Moshe told me? Moshe told me, what's kiyum? What's kiyum? Kiyum is to be able to learn with all of your concentration. If you're constipated, you can't learn with all your... That's not kiyum. Kiyum is be able to sit and to learn. That's afilu sho'achas. Others learn to learn Torah Lishma. Means to be makir es beirei. Kuchberichu v'arai sachadu. To be makir Rabbeinu Shalom. A person should be able to be makir. Like it says, "V'aftas Hashem Elokecha." How are you going to love Him? Through the Torah, you have a devekis with the Eibishter. That's. But the real Chaim says, if that was the case, then we should say Tillim. It's full of devekis. So I want to tell you what the Paship Shat in Torah Lishma is. You look at life and you'll see everyone is doing something for something else. People are working. Do you like your job? I hate it. But I need the money to pay the mortgage. Are you going to school? So you enjoy. I can't take it. But I need a degree. Why are you working? For your children. Ask the children for their children. You like money? I like what it buys. Everything is for something else. Says Reb Meir, Torah is it. You're not learning Torah for anything else. You're learning Torah because this is it. Torah is it. Why do you think that you're supposed to learn Torah as B'midbar, that it should be free? They had all kinds of strategies for a Rav to get paid. They paid him for making chasanas, for levayas, for mechiras chametz. They gave the wife, like Ramoshes Rebbetzin in Luban, had a monopoly on yeast, on candles. Why didn't they give him a big salary? Hey, he's the CEO of the shul. Pay him $500,000. No. Because Torah is for itself. That's why Reb Meir says, but I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you. Because if I tell you, then you'll do it for that. I don't want you to do it for that. That's why till recently, Yeshivas didn't have a track for smicha. You got a smicha from a private rav. Why? Because Torah. Not only because the Chofetz Chaim said they should learn Kachin to be ready for Mashiach, but also I remember when I was learning in the Daf Yomi Me'ilah, I had a Talmud, should be gesund, his name is Simcha Hai Goldkrantz. He said to me, Rabbi Weiss, I was telling my wife for the next 30 days, I'm going to learn a Masechta about an Aveira that's not Nagei Lishma. That's not Nagei B'zmaneinu. It's an Aveira that's not Nagei. Me'ilah. It's an Aveira. And it's not Nagei. We don't have Me'ilah today. So that's learning Torah Lishma. Why is this so important? You know, in computer technology, there's something called the default. Default means that that's the way the computer is supposed to be. That's the default. Anything else is a change. You have to modify it. But the default position of somebody should be learning. Now, there's a lot of things that we do, and it's proper to do. If somebody has to help his mother, and there's nobody else to help, and he says he's learning, it's no good. It's a mitzvah shein yochel asli de'echem. You have to close the Gemara. Oh, but if not, people always have svekis. Maybe I could be doing something better. I could be doing something better. There's nothing better. There's nothing better. That's the meaning of Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. What you're doing, there's nothing better. It's the reason why the world was created. You know that Bereshis Bara Elokim is exactly B'gematria Torah Nevi'im Ksuvim? 1202. So you can figure it out. Nevi'im is with 2 yuds and Ksuvim is with a vav. But it's 1202. It's amazing. And if you want to get fancy, this is my own word, but Bereshis Bara Elokim S is Misper Cotton 37. There's 37 Masechtas in Shas, not including Shkolm, which is Yerushalmi, 37 Masechtas that have Gemara. That's where you created. And that's why, just to be margish it, that's the meaning of a Gemara, Gedoyle Talmud Torah Yosem Yatzalos Nefashos. You have to wrap your head around it. Somebody is outside. He just came. He took a piece of meat out of a baby and he saved the baby's life, and the mother is so happy and the father is crying and the baby could have died, and you're learning a Taisvis. In raw merit, you're more than that person. You got to wrap your head around that. You got to wrap your head around the fact that in the number of Anshe Knesset Agdayla, Mordechai was demoted from 4 to 5 because he was busy saying Klal Yisrael. It wasn't learning. He was demoted. He saved Klal Yisrael and he was demoted. Because, okay, he got distracted with, if you don't save the life, and you could, you're a chassid shaitan. But in raw merit, this is more. What you're doing is the best thing a person could be doing. The Hanhala meeting is over. I'm going to leave you with a story from our mashgiach, now Ruchni of Yeshivas Staten Island, Rav Mintz. It's something that happened to me when I was your age. I was your age. Somebody in the yeshiva, a 22-year-old Bacher was getting married. And he was a wealthy family, and he was marrying a wealthy girl. So they made a chasana in Marina del Rey. That was the Marina del Rey. And they sent 2 very fancy coach buses to yeshiva. And everybody in the yeshiva was invited. Now that meant you get a real good meal with a smorgasbord and everything. So I couldn't justify to go. I didn't know the chassan. I didn't know him. I was maybe 16. He was 22. I didn't even know him. So I decided to stay. I found out that I was the only one that decided to stay. The cook didn't make supper. And I'm in an empty Beis Medrash. Suddenly, I see from the back Rabbi Mintz. Maybe I'll ask him for a ride. He didn't go yet. So he peeks into the Beis Medrash, and he sees me, and he smiles. And, you know, if I would have gone to Marina del Rey, I wouldn't remember the stuffed cabbage anymore, or the mushroom soup, or even the sweetbreads. But I remember this all my life. He looked at me, he smiled, and I didn't have to say anything. He said to me, "Let me tell you what Rav Shach once told me." Rav Shach said, Rav Shach told me, if you're not sure whether you should stay and learn or not, and you decide to sit and learn, invariably you'll never regret it. That's what he said. Of course, if it means helping your wife to bathe the baby, she's not going to ask somebody else's husband to help her. So, I mean, we're not talking about fools. But it was perfect for this case. Because at the end, 45 years later, 48 years later, I don't regret it. Shavuos is the same letters as Sheboy Ace. In it is time. This is what we do with our time. So in the name of your Rebbeim, I want to bless you all, that Hashem should grant all of us a geschmack in Torah. That's what we ask for in Birchas HaTorah. V'harevna, give me an arevel, says Yizkai, the Mesikas. Should have a geschmack in my Torah. Should have good to Chaverim. That's chus. We should be gesund. We should be zeicha to be mekabel the Torah.